Um, are we done with paging? Paging is completed. Page table. Then this TLB translation look aside buffer. We were in TLB, right? So TLB hit ratio, miss ratio, that effective access memory calculation is also over, right? Yes. Okay. So today we will see how the protection can be given for the page table. Then we will see uh, what do you mean by shared pages? That means if more than one page, sorry, if more than one process are sharing the same page, right? So in that case, how that can be given, the sharing can be given. Then we will see the structure of page table, right? So like there are some techniques for structuring the page table, like we have hierarchical paging. That means when we have more number of pages, where it takes more time on searching the pages only. So to avoid that, we will be using this hierarchical paging. And then we have another structuring called hash page tables, right? And we have one more called inverted page table, right? Today we will discuss about the structure of page tables, right? And then, yeah, with this we can complete the paging. Then we have another technique called demand paging, that is virtual memory concept, that is demand paging. So we'll see what is demand paging, then what is virtual memory. Then we see how the performance can be there in the demand paging. Then we will see like what are the page replacement algorithms. So I already told you what they mean by this page replacement algorithm, right? So when we are using this translation look aside buffer, right? When we are seeing this translation look aside buffer, and then the required page is not available in the TLB, right? What it is called? It is called TLB miss, right? So in that case, what we do, we again go to the page table. Ma'am, ఒకసారి close. Right? So if it is a TLB miss, then what we have to do is again we have to follow the same old procedure, right? Like first refer to the page table, then again from there get the page table details, go to the physical memory to get the required instructions, right? So again here the memory access time will be doubled. Yes or no, right? You're getting me, guys? Right? But in the TLB, what we do is if it is a TLB miss and you are going to the page table to get the required page details, right? There, what we do is we add that to the TLB. That entry has to be added to the TLB. So when we are adding that to the page table, sorry, when we are adding that page entry to the TLB, right? And consider the TLB is already filled. Consider that ELB is already filled. So in that case, what we do is we try to take one of the entry from the TLB and we add the new entry. So when we are adding the new entry, right? Uh, with what page, what existing page we should replace, that will depends on the algorithm what we use. So for that the algorithms we use are called page replacement algorithms. So right, you're getting me, guys? To replace the page, the to replace the page, like or we are adding the new page details, right? uh, with what is the existing page details we are replacing depends on the page replacement algorithm. So the page replacement algorithms are very important. Definitely you will get a question from that. So we have different page table techniques like FIFO, first in first out page table, sorry, page replacement, and then we have optimal page replacement, right? And then we have LRU, least recently used LRU page replacement, right? You are getting me, guys? So like this, we have some page replacement algorithm. So we will be seeing it in the next class. So for now, I will be starting the concept called the protection. Guys, give me 1 second. So I will share my screen. Right? You understand now up to this point, guys, in the memory management, what is segmentation, what is fragmentation, what is swapping, what is paging. Yes, all are clear, right? You still you have any doubts? Like I think all these are clear for you all, right? So let me share my screen. Today again, my system is getting slow. Why? Give me a second. Please respond once you can able to see my screen, guys. It's showing that it's still loading here. Guys, I lost the connection in my laptop. I'm reconnecting. Just give me 2 minutes. I'm so sorry. In college, we have problem with internet connection. Now. It's getting disconnected all the time. Is it okay if I teach without PPT and board for some time till I get the connection in my laptop? If yes, please respond, guys, so that I can continue on my mobile. Or else you are ready to wait. say something, guys? Is it okay if I teach the next topic without PPT and the board? Orally, if I teach it is okay, or else you wait till I get the connection back. I think it's connecting. We'll wait. Okay, done. Yeah. 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 Okay. Okay. We'll wait for 5 to 10 minutes. Yes, I think I'm back. Am I audible now? Today I can see very good strength. It's 52. Very good. For this memory protection, no? Right? Uh, Guys, can I continue? Okay. See the PPT. Uh, yes. So coming to this memory protection, so how the protection can be provided in the paging environment is right. So memory protection in the paged environment is accomplished by protecting bits associated with each frame. So if you see the page table, so in that page table, you will be having another field, right? That is called protection bit, right? So these bits are kept in the page table only. So in the page table, you will be having a entry called protection bit. So that bit is having like a valid invalid bits. So a one bit valid invalid bit is attached to each entry in the page table, right? It will be attached in the page table. So if you see this, you can understand, right? So this is the page table. These are the page numbers and these are the associated frame numbers. And you will be having another entry that is called a protection bit. This protection bit can be a valid or invalid bit, right? So when this bit is set to valid, that means the associated page is in the process's legal or sorry, the the associated page is in the process's logical address space and it is a legal, or you can call it as a valid page. It is a valid page. You're getting me, guys, right? So your process is having 6 pages starting from 0 to 5, right? And these 0 to 5 pages are stored in the memory, right? In the frames, having the frame numbers as 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9. So because all these frames 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9 are having the valid pages, so that its bit is valid, right? And your page 6, 7, these are not related to this process. These are not related to this process. Then what happens? Those 2 page numbers are kept as the invalid. That means if this process is trying to get the access to these locations, because this was not belongs to this process, right? Here the frame numbers, associated frame numbers were not mentioned, right? They were not mentioned here. You're getting me, guys, right? And they are invalid. That means if the process is trying to, if it is generating an address referring to the page number 6 or 7, then that access will not be granted by saying that it's a invalid. You're getting me, guys? A 1 bit valid invalid bit is attached to each entry in the page table. When the bit is set to invalid, when it is set to valid, that means what? It's a legal or valid page. Now, when the bit is set invalid, let's consider it is invalid for 6 and 7, no? That means the page is not in the process's logical address space. That means 6, 7 are not belongs to this process. They are not in this logical address space. And these are not in the range 00000 to 12,287. They are not in this range. They are invalid, right? So illegal addresses are trapped by use of the valid invalid bit, because these are invalid. When they are creating the address which belongs to this invalid addresses, they will be stated as trapped or addressing error or fatal error, whatever, it will generate some error message. You're getting me, guys? So here the operating system sets this bit for each page to allow or disallow access to the page. So who are going to put this values, valid or invalid, is operating system. So based on this valid or invalid bit, a process will be given access to them, right? Process will be given access to them. Now, so this is the example. So consider this figure, a system with a 14-bit address space, right? You have a system with 14-bit address space, and we have a page, you have a program here that should use only the addresses starting from 0 to 10,468. Let's consider. Even though it is occupying half of the page, we will be allocating the total page. That is the drawback with the paging. No, you all understand that, right? That is the reason we can say the paging is suffering with the fragmentation also. Why? Because even though it requires a part of the 5th page, all the 5 pages are allocated to the process, right? So here in this example, right, we have a program that should use the addresses starting from 0 to 10,468, and consider each page size is 2 KB only, right? You're getting me, guys? Now, addresses in the pages 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are mapped normally to the page table here, right? And any attempt to generate any address in page 6 and 7 will find that the valid invalid bit is set to invalid, right? These are set to invalid, and the computer will trap to the OS indicating that invalid page reference. So if your program is there in the 0 to 5 pages only, but if the program, the user is asking for the data which was stored in page 6 or 7, somewhere like that, it will be checked whether it is a valid or invalid. Because it is invalid, there is a trap will be generated, and it will be informed to the operating system saying that the process is trying to get the reference to the other process location, a wrong location. So that will be trapped, that will not be granted, right? You're getting me, guys? But what is the problem here is, can you tell me what is the problem here? Even though we have the valid invalid bit, we have a problem here. What is that? Can anyone tell me? Guys, you are getting me? If it is valid, it will give the access. If it is invalid, it will not give the access. It is, you think it is working properly? This is also having some problem. Can you tell me what is the problem here? A process which does not have valid or invalid bit is last. No. For every process in the page table, definitely there will be a valid or invalid bit data. It definitely will be given, because operating system is giving whether that is a valid or not. I'll tell you what is the problem here is. See, if you see, guys, in the fifth page, actually your program is loaded up to 10,468 bits only. Your program is stored only up to 10,468 bits only. But let's consider if the user is requesting the address in the page number 5. Okay, page number is valid only, but with the offset, you're getting me, guys? With the offset, it can ask some address which is at the location 11,000, like that. It is in between 10,468 to 12,287. You are getting me, guys? If it is referring, but actually that is invalid. That is invalid, because the operating system is giving the validation for the pages. The page 5 was given as the valid, right? Even though if the user is requesting for the invalid location, right? You are getting me, guys? The trap will not be generated. The trap will not be generated here. You are getting me, guys? Yes, actually the program extends only up to 10,468. Beyond that address is illegal, actually. But reference to page 5 is classified as valid, right? So to the addresses up to 12,287 are valid. That is a problem here. Understood, no? Now, what can be the solution? So to avoid this problem, we use a register called page table length register to indicate the size of the page table, right? So this PLTR value is checked against every logical address to verify the address is in the valid range for the process or not. This is the solution. You are getting me, guys? Right? So if you see here, right? You are getting me, ma? This is about the valid invalid, right? So we have a drawback with this. What is that is? because the page is indicating as the valid, even though will be given access to the invalid location. So to avoid that, what we do is, as I told you, we will be using some registers here now. So we will be using a register called, right, page table length register. Page table length register, which indicates the size of the page table, right? You are getting me, guys? Which indicates the size of the page table, right? So this value is checked against every logical address to verify that the address is in the valid range of the process or not, right? So by checking with the page table length register, so it will tell you the length of the page table, right? So up to what point it can be allowed, like, or up to what point it can be allowed, like. So if it is beyond this 10,468, it will be treated as the illegal. So when after getting this, when you are referring, when you are adding this to the offset, right, there it will be checked with that. So based on the length of the page table, if it is beyond that, it will be treated as the illegal. Up to this clear, guys? This is about the providing the security for the paging environment. Shall we move to the next topic? Yes? Yes. So next we have the concept called shared pages. So paging has an advantage of sharing common code. You are getting me, guys? That means when you are using the paging concept, when you are using this paging concept, you can share the common code. You can share some of the pages with the other processes also. So this makes more advantage with the time shared environment, right? With the time sharing environment, right? So let me show you this example. Why this is coming out? So coming to the shared pages, right? So one copy of read-only code shared among processes like text editors, compilers, Windows systems. So all these, if you can put on a separate page, like you can share with the multiple process. So you need not to load them all the time separately for different processes, right? So shared code must appear in same location in the logical address space for all the processes. So in the main memory, we will be loading only, it is similar to your dynamic loading and dynamic linking, right? Like you will be putting only one piece of code, and that can be shared with the multiple processes. And each process have their own private code also, right? They can keep a separate copy of the code and the data. So these will be treated as private, right? So if you see this example, if you can see this example here, right? So please consider the above figure that shows a system that supports 40 users. Right here, the system supports 40 users, each of whom execute a text editor. So here, text editor, we have something, right? The text editor can be executed by the 40 users. So let's consider if the text editor consisting of 150 KB of code, the text editor is consisting of 150 KB of code and 50 KB of data space, right? So if you load them separately for 40 users differently, it should occupy 8,000 KB. It should occupy 8,000 KB for the 40 users. To support for 40 users, 200 into 40, right? If you load them separately. But if the code is a reusable code or the shared code, or you can call it as reentrant code, right? Or pure code. There are so many names for this, right? There are so many names for this. So So if the code is a reusable code like that, it can be shared with the 40 users, right? I got disconnected. Uh, Guys, you're getting my voice? Guys, you're getting my voice? Yes, ma.
Yes, ma.
Again, I
Again,
got
I got
disconnected,
disconnected,
guys.
guys. Can you able to hear me? Yeah. Okay. See, we are discussing about. See, can you able to see the screen? I don't know. I think. Uh, I don't know today. I so many network issues. So many times it is getting disconnected. Okay, guys. So don't waste the time. Let's continue with the topic, right? So we are discussing about the shared pages, right? So there we are taking one example, right?
Yes, ma. You are getting my voice now. Okay, guys. Okay, so don't waste the time. See, we are discussing example, right? So if you can see me, I have taken a simple example. Like we have some editor. Its size is approximately 200 KB, and if 40 users want to use it concurrently like that, right? Then actually we require 8000 KB, right? But if you make that editor code, because that is reentrant code, that means that code can be used by different users at the same time, right? uh, we can um, we can use it as a shared data, right? So uh, with this concept shared pages, so we can put the shared data in a separate page. We can put the shared data in a separate page, and then if you can make that page a shared page, right? If you can make it as the shared page, so you can share that code with the 40 people at the same time. That means you need not to have those many copies, so you can load only one copy of that, right? If you can keep only one copy of that, and that one copy can be used by the 40 users at the same time. You are getting me, guys? Right? Only one copy of the editor need to be kept in the physical memory, right? And each user's page table maps onto the same physical copy of the editor, right? But the data pages are mapped onto different frames. Why? Because you don't want to share that. So you map that to a different frame, right? So with this, you can save so much of space, right? You are getting me, guys? uh, Not only this editor, there are some heavily used programs. Their size is very big and they can be shared with the different people, like compilers, runtime libraries, and database systems. No, so these also can be kept in the shared pages, and you can share with them. So this is about the concept called um, shared pages, right? You can keep them. See, guys, if asked in the exam, please make sure that you draw the example diagram. You draw the example diagram and then explain nicely. Otherwise, you won't get much marks. So please, if any concept from memory management, make sure that you are using the diagrams neatly and you are explaining the concept. Right now, coming to the structure of the page table, ma. Right, coming to the structure of the page table. As I told you, we have three structures. Page tables can be structured in three ways. One is hierarchical paging. Guys, please write the running notes, ma, because the PPT is also not available. Please listen to me carefully and try to take the points. Right, guys, you are understanding, no? You can able to hear my voice, I think. Yes, please respond, guys, in the chat box. We are done with two concepts, ma, two simple concepts, right? So one is protection in the paging environment, and the other one is shared pages, right? Guys, please respond. You can able to hear me. Uh, can I continue with the other concept? The next concept, that is the structure of the page table. Respond, Avandama. If you respond, I can continue. I still have doubt whether you are following me or not. Your voice is not clear. Oh my God. Now, can you able to hear me now? Shall I continue with the structure of page table concept? Guys, it's still not clear. Guys, you understand the first two concepts, what I discussed now? ఏదో ఒకటి రెస్పాండ్ అవ్వండమ్మా. I'm unable to reach you guys. What concept? Shared pages. What do you want me to repeat? Shared pages concept, guys. Okay. Seema, very simple. Shared pages means you can share the pages. You can share the pages with multiple processes. So, what pages you can share? The pages which are having the reusable code, which are having the retrent code. That means multiple users can get access to it, just like text editors or compilers where you can load, right? But the processes private data cannot be shared, right? So that means what data you want to share with the multiple processes. Oh my God, what is the problem today? Still, you are getting the same problem, ma. It is not audible. 1 second, guys. Now, can you able to hear me clearly? Is my voice clear? Thank God. Right. So, what do you mean by the shared pages is you can share the pages with the different processes. That means what data can be shared, what is not personal, right? Like editors, compilers, these are there, no? These you can put in separate pages so that they can be loaded in a separate frame. Those frames can be, that means those frames memory location can be given access to different processes, and each process can have their own data, private data, that can be kept in the again in the separate pages, which cannot be shared with the other processes. Okay, fine, ma. Right, guys. let me confirm you. Actually, I am taking from mobile phone because I have a network issue with the laptop here in the college, right? Pigma, that is a structure of page table. We have three structures, as I told you, right? We have some three different techniques for structuring the page table, right? So in that, one is hierarchical paging. The second one is hashed page tables. The third one is inverted page table, right? Okay. So coming to this, the first one, hierarchical page table. So what do you mean by this hierarchical page table and where we use this hierarchical page table is, right? So we will see what are the three different structures and where we use. So most modern computer systems support a large logical address space that is 2 power 32 to 2 power 64 bytes. That leads to larger page tables. That leads to larger page tables, right? So 2 power 32 means those many page tables you can have. So among 2 power 62, if your address, your CPU is referring to a page number, right? You have to search for the page table, right? So that searching only will take so much of time, right? You're getting me, guys? You have a system with a 32-bit logical address space. That means 2 power 32, right? You're getting me, guys? And consider page size is 2 power 4, right? Your page your page size is 2 power 4 అనుకున్నా, right? You are getting me, guys? So that means if you divide that page table, right? You divide that logical address space into the number of pages. Let's consider it divided into 500 pages. That means your page table should have 500 entries. So among 500 entries, right? You if the user is requesting for some address, if the user is requesting for address, you have to search all the 500 addresses or the 500 entries to get the required page details. Let's consider my page 499 దగ్గర ఉందనుకున్నాం. So if it uses some searching techniques, no? So starting నుంచి start చేసి 1, 2, 3, 4 like that linear search అనుకోండి, right? It has to search 499 entries to get a page reference. To get a page reference. You're getting me, guys? That means here you will be wasting so much of time only in the searching. So to avoid this, you're getting me, guys? Hierarchical paging was invented. So what happens with the hierarchical paging is it uses two-level paging algorithm for structuring the page table. You're getting me? And then best take a simple example. I'll make you understand what is this hierarchical paging is. Textbook undamma. If you don't have index and you want to search for a topic, so how you will do? You have to search all the pages to get your required page. You're getting me, guys? But if you have an index, let's consider if you have an index, right? There, with the topic, you can first understand in which unit it was there, so that you can go to that unit and you can go to the topic, and with the page number, you can directly get access to that topic. The same thing will be applied in the hierarchical paging also. Same thing will be applied with the hierarchical paging also. So here you will be having two levels, and you will be having two page tables, P1 and P2, right? So this P1 page table will work as the index. It will work as the index, and then P2 page table will actually have the data related to that index, right? You are getting me, guys? And within that page table 2, by making use of the offset value, you can actually get access to that particular memory location. You are getting me, guys? Right? A logical address has two indexes, P1 and P2. So that means ikkada any tuples unta, you will be having three tuples. It will have P1. So P1 is an index into the outer page table, and you have P2 index. It is the displacement within the page of the inner page table. So inner page table lo whatever the entries we have, for those entries, it will have the mapping, right? It will have the displacement within the page of the inner page table. You are getting me, guys? Right? So there is a diagram for this also. If you can see this diagram, so you can better understand how the mapping can be done. Right? You can also use any levels, ma. If I'm using only two levels, right? If I'm using only two levels, again, in that also, each level will have again more number of pages. So again, their searching takes much time. So that means you can extend the levels. That means you can extend this to three level paging, right? The two level paging can be extended up to three level paging. That means you can have P1 indexing, P2 indexing, and P3 indexing like that. So this is how the hierarchical paging can be done. So understand, guys, hierarchical paging. You understood? Yes, ma. Hierarchical paging is clear because if modern systems are supporting the large logical address space, that is up to 2 power 32 to 2 power 64 anukunte, that means if the logical address space is more, definitely it can accommodate more number of pages. When it is accommodating more number of pages, definitely the number of pages will increase. When the number of pages are getting increased, definitely the page table size will increase. When the number of entries in the page table is increasing, it takes more time to search for the page table only to get page table entry. So to avoid that, what we are using is we are using levels of paging, right? So initially we'll be using two levels of paging, right? So P1 will work as the indexing and P2 will actually have the data, right? You're getting me? Right? Here you can take an example like how the textbook is prepared. So if you don't have the indexing for the textbook, definitely it takes so much of time for uh, uh, getting that required page for what you are searching for. Right? But if you have the index, it is very easy for you to get the data, right? Your required data. So that is how the hierarchical paging works. Clear, guys? Please respond. We are done with hierarchical paging. Is it okay for you? Please respond, ma. I think I'm audible to you. Understood, guys? Hierarchical paging. Yes, మా కాన్సెప్ట్ ఇప్పుడు అర్థం చేసుకోండి. నెక్స్ట్ క్లాస్ ఐ విల్ డ్రా అండ్ ఐ విల్ మేక్ యూ అండర్స్టాండ్. వన్స్ అగైన్ ఐ విల్ గివ్ యూ ద బ్రీఫింగ్. I know we have very less time to complete the syllabus. I cannot skip the today's class. That is the reason I am continuing. So you better you try to get the idea of the concept. I will once again write and I'll make you understand once again, guys. You don't worry. You go through the notes or textbook. You still have any doubts, you can ask me. Right? You understand, ma? Guys, please respond so that I can continue. Thank God. Yeah, yeah. So for this hierarchical paging, in your textbook, they explained with some example, ma. So in VAX mini computers, right, which was from the DEC, Digital Equipment Corporation, right? there is a mini computer called VAX, right? It was the most popular mini computer uh, at the age of like at the period of 1977 through 2000, right? So this VAX architecture supports a variation of this two-level paging, right? So it was the example, right, where two-level paging was supported by this kind of mini computer. Right? It's a 32-bit machine one. That means here the page size it supports is 512 bytes. So 2 power 32 bits logical space is divided into the partitions of 512 bytes. It is all right. Then how the two-level thing was two-level this hierarchical paging was implemented in that. It was explained as the example, right? So which I will be doing it in the next class. Don't worry. Now coming to the next topic called hash table, right? Hashed page tables, right? So in the hashed page tables, so these are used for handling the address spaces larger than 32 bits. So if your logical address space is more than 2 power 32, right? So here, how this can be done is I know you all are aware of this hashing concept. You all are aware of this hashing, how it can be done like, right? So each entry in the hash table contains a linked list of elements that hash to the same location to handle collisions, right? What we are doing is you will be having a hash table. So this hash table is having three fields. One is the virtual page number and value of the mapped page frame and a pointer to the next element in the linked list. So how what it will have is it will have some see whenever any user is generating the page table, sorry, generating the logical address. So first it will check for the page number, and with that page number a hash function is applied on the page number, and some hash code is generated. Accordingly your page will be means that page details will be mapped in the hash table, right? um, so what is this virtual page number here is virtual page number is the virtual address is hashed into the hash table, right? So in the hash table where actually your page number is mapped, it will be stored, right? So whenever the logical address is generating, the virtual page number is compared with the field one in the first element in the linked list. As I told you in the linked list, it will check with the first element. So if there is a match, the corresponding page frame is used, right? To get the desired physical location. If that was not there, it will check the next location. That way, it will be checked whether the required page number is available in that hash table entry or not, right? You are getting me, guys? Hash table ఎలా ఉంటాయండి? You will have one entry, next entry it will be mapped like that, mapped, right? So here what happens is whenever there is a call, whenever there is a reference, a page number was asked, right? So first it will be checked. Then what happens is it will be first checked with the first element in that linked list. If it is the first number matching with that, directly it will get the desired location. If not there, it will go to the next element in the linked list. That way, it is going to get the required frame number, right? You are getting me, guys? Then if there is no match in that entry, in that subsequent entries in the linked list are searched for the matching virtual page number, right? You are getting me, guys? This hash page table is used for the addresses more than 32 bits, right? So here, if it is supporting 62-bit address space, that means 2 power 64 addresses will be there, right? There, clustered page tables are used. So what do you mean by this clustered page tables are? These clustered page tables are similar to the hash tables only, but except that each entry in the hash table refers to several pages rather than a single page. In the clustering, what happens is instead of having a single entry to that, it can be having the multiple, means it can store the mapping to the multiple physical page frames, right? So cluster page tables, where we can use them as they are particularly useful for the sparse address spaces. Sparse address spaces is nothing but where the memory references are non-contiguous and scattered through the address space. You are understanding, guys? This is about the hashed page table, right? If the address is more than 2 power 62, like if it is equal to 2 power 64, like that, then that clustered page table is used. In that, what happens is hash table lo ela untundamma, each hash table entry will have only one element, right? So here it is not like that. Here it can have the reference to the multiple physical memory addresses, right? So that is the only um, difference with the hashed page tables and clustered page tables. So next topic, the next type of structure is this is inverted page table. The next technique, right? Guys, you are clear with the uh, hashed page tables? Please respond. This hashed page table is clear for you guys? Am I audible to you all? If yes, please respond. What happened, Ma? Can you able to hear me? Yes. So hashed page table is clear for you all. Can I move to the next topic? Inverted page table. Okay, Ma. Yes. Coming to this inverted page table, right? So before going to this inverted page table, first we will see what are the drawbacks we have with the other page tables, right? And then we will move to the inverted page table, which will give the solution for all the problems, right? Now, so let's see what are the problems with the normal page table is. I'm giving you some points here. You try to understand them. So you all know that for each process we have a associated page table, right? And the page table has one entry for each page that the process is using. ప్రతి ప్రాసెస్ ఒక పేజ్ టేబుల్ ఉంటుంది. ప్రతి పేజ్ టేబుల్లో it will have an entry for the pages that are used by that process, right? Now, processes reference pages through the pages virtual address. అవునా కదా? How they are going to refer to that? First, they will generate some logical address. That is virtual address only. The logical address is not the permanent address. No, that is virtual address. Now, the OS must then translate this reference address into the physical memory. That can be done by the MMU. Who is doing that? The operating system is doing that. Right? Now, since the table is sorted by the virtual addresses, the operating system is able to calculate where in the table the associated physical address entry is located and use that value directly. But the drawback with this method is each page table may consist of millions of entries. But I'm taking only 3-4 page table examples. But if you see the supercomputers like that, there definitely each page table will have so many entries, right? So these tables may consume large amount of physical memory just to keep track of how other physical memory is being used. Avuna kada? Prati page table has to be, means every page table again has to be loaded in the physical memory only. Avuna kadamma? You're getting me, guys? Right? They will consume more space for holding the data about the page tables. రైట్ అంటే ఆ పేజ్ టేబుల్స్ లో ఏం డేటా ఉందో ఆ డేటాను స్టోర్ చేయడానికి రైట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ వేస్టింగ్ సో మచ్ ఆఫ్ టైమ్ in keeping track of the how physical memory is being used. So for this, what is the solution is, we have the solution called inverted page table. We have the solution called inverted page table. That means how this inverted page table will work is, um, inverted page table has only one entry for each real page. This inverted page table will have only one entry for each real page. That is for frame of memory. మీ పేజ్ ఎక్కడైతే లోడ్ అయ్యిందో, రైట్? Now, coming to this inverted page table, right? Each entry in that inverted page table consisting of virtual address of the page stored in that real memory location with the information about the process that owns the page. So what we are having in this inverted page table is, understand guys, you need not to have so many copies here. Here what it will have is, it will have the logical address space and its real address space, that means page number and the frame number. And it also has the information about which process is using it. అంటే ప్రతి ప్రాసెస్ కి మనం సెపరేట్ గా పేజ్ టేబుల్ మెయింటైన్ చేయకుండా విల్ మెయింటైన్ ఓన్లీ ఎ సింగిల్ పేజ్ టేబుల్ ఫర్ ఆల్ ద ప్రాసెసెస్. యు ఆర్ అండర్స్టాండింగ్, రైట్? You are getting me, guys? This inverted page table is used by all the processes. So what information it will have is, it will have the virtual address of the page, that means the logical address and a page number, and also the real memory location with the information, that means in which frame, and also it will have the information like which process is using it, which process is using it, right? That means only one page table is in the system and it has only one entry for each page of physical memory. You are getting me, guys? So with this inverted page table, you can save so much of space. Why? Because you are not maintaining so many page tables. You are not maintaining so many page tables. You are not maintaining a separate page table for each process. You are getting me, guys? Right? Instead, you will be having a single page table. You will be having a single page table that is called inverted page table, where it will have the data about what is its logical address, what is its physical address, and which process is using it. And when it is coming to this, inverted page tables are used, right? In an operating system, like it is used in 64-bit Ultra Spark and Power PC systems. Where we are going to use this is 64-bit Ultra Spark and Power PC systems are making use of this inverted page tables, right? And it is also used in IBM Artima So in the IBM systems, how the inverted paging is used, they were given an example here, right? So there is a diagram was given here, right? So if you can see, whenever the CPU is generating the logical address, right? The CPU will generate the address like this. It will have three entries, ma. It will have the process ID, it will have the page number, and it will have the offset. So here the CPU has to mention, right? The CPU has to mention like which process it belongs to, right? Which process is asking for the instructions, right? I, I got the connection back. Let's hope we can able to see it. So it will generate the logical address with the three entries, right? Process ID means to which process it belongs to, and it will give you the page number and the offset value, right? It will give three entries, right? Process ID, page number, and offset. Now, when it is coming to the inverted page table, that inverted page table have the entry, right? Each entry will have the information like uh, process ID and the page number. So first it will check with the process ID, right? And that process ID belongs to which page number like that, right? So here the process ID is nothing but what it is address space identifier, ma, right? Like as I told you, like inverted page table will be maintaining three entries, no, logical address, physical address, and the process ID. So if the process ID is matching, if the process ID is matching with the page number, like if the page number belongs to that process ID, then it will be giving the permission, right? Then what happens is the inverted page table is then searched for a match if the page number is matching. So if the match is found at some entry I, let's consider, right? So then the physical address will be generated with the match I, that is with the page number and its corresponding frame number. No, so let's consider I is the frame number, and further the offset will be added and the physical address is generated. And if there is no match found, right? If there is no match found, then it will be returned. It will be returned as the illegal address access, right? So this is how your inverted page table works. But this inverted page table is also having a drawback, mark. That is, right? What is the problem it is having is, although this schema decreases the amount of memory needed to store the page table, it increases the amount of time needed to search the table when a page reference occurs. Why? Because this inverted page table will be having the information about all processes pages. Avuna kada? Not a separate page table. Initial ఏంటి ప్రతి ప్రాసెస్ కు ఒక పేజ్ టేబుల్ ఉంటుంది కాబట్టి ఇన్ దట్ పేజ్ టేబుల్ we will search, but here this inverted page table will have the information about all the processes related data, no. So here the searching, it takes more time for the searching, right? And one more thing, the systems that are using the inverted page table, they have difficulty in implementing the shared memory. The shared memory is uh, difficult when we are using this inverted page table technique, right? So this is all about your structures of page table, right? Guys, understood? The three techniques. One is hierarchical, the other one is hashed, the third one is inverted, right? So if you are done with those things, if you are okay, you understood, then we can move to the next topic. We can move to the next topic, that is demand paging or memory management, virtual memory management. We can start. Shall I continue, guys? Can I continue with the next topic? Please respond in the chat box. Virtual memory management. So in that we'll discuss about the demand paging. So virtual memory and when we use this is when your program size is more than the physical memory, right? If your program size is more than the physical memory, then we will be using this virtual memory. So virtual memory means what is we can create a situation like your main memory can hold your program and a part of the program is loaded and by making use of swap in and swap out, right? Part of the program will be loaded initially and later on, based on how the CPU calls for the instructions, they will be swapped in and swapped out of the memory. So that way your virtual memory management can be done. So virtual memory is a technique that allows the execution of the process that are not completely in the main memory. So this virtual memory involves the separation of logical memory as perceived by users from physical memory. Right? Virtual memory, it involves now this separation allows an externally large virtual memory to be provided for the programmers when only a smaller physical memory is available. Right? And a program would no longer be constrained by the amount of physical memory that is available. User would be able to write program for a large virtual address space. So even though your main memory, your physical memory is less, right? You can able to means the user can create, he can write a large program for the large virtual address space, right? Because each user program could take less physical memory, more programs could be loaded at the same time with corresponding. Uh, it will correspondingly increase the CPU utilization and the throughput, right? But it will not increase the response time and turnaround time. Remember, guys, if you are making use of this virtual memory, so it can increase the CPU utilization. Why? Because we are not loading the full programs into the memory now. We are loading only a piece part of the program, right? So that means you can utilize your main memory to load more number of programs. To load, that means you can increase the CPU utilization and the throughput, right? You are getting me, guys? And here, when you are using this virtual memory concept, right, he is telling that it takes less IO, right? It takes only less IO for loading or swapping the user programs into the main memory. So each user program would run faster. So it is benefit for both the system and the user, right? So this is the introduction to your virtual memory concept, right? So you here, because it is virtual memory concept, we will be using this virtual address space, right? Virtual address space means, see, ఏం చెప్పానమ్మా నేను, ఫస్ట్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ విల్ బి లాజికల్లీ లోడెడ్ యాజ్ ఐ టోల్డ్ యూ. పేజింగ్ లో కూడా అంతే కదా, యువర్ పేజ్ is use making use of a logical address space. There it will be stored in the pages. It will be stored in the pages, right? These pages will be mapped to your actual memory into the frames, right? So ikkada kuda ante amma, we will, but here what we are doing is we are creating a larger logical address space so that you can execute the programs which are bigger than the main memory also, which can be bigger than the main memory also, right? So as I told you, the address space created by this concept, you can call it as virtual address space, right? So what they mean by virtual address space of a process means it is the logical view of how a process stored in the memory, right? You're getting me, guys? That means a process begins at a certain logical address. So manam starting nunchi anukunte, starting from zero, right? And it will be stored in the contiguous locations, right? You're getting me, guys? And your physical memory organized in page frames, and the physical page frames assigned to a process may not be contiguous. ఇక్కడ మనం వీఆర్ డివైడింగ్, మీన్స్ ఇక్కడ కంటిజియస్ ఉన్నా కూడా ఇన్ ద ఫ్రేమ్స్ దే క్యాన్ బి లోడెడ్ in the non-contiguous locations. And in the same way, like how it will be done for all the processes, right? The memory management unit, the MMU, it maps the logical pages to the physical page frames in the main memory, right? You are getting me, guys? Right? And you can increase your virtual address space whenever required, right? That is used for the dynamic memory allocation, right? You are getting me, guys? So if you see the virtual address space, it will be having a stack and it will be having a heap, and your program data and code will be stored in the virtual address space, right? And if you see here, the stack will go downwards and heap will go your heap will grow upwards, right? Here we are using stack and heap. Your stack will be growing downwards, and heap will be growing upwards, right? You are getting me, guys? Right? And you have a larger blank space between your heap and the stack. It's a part of your virtual address space, but it will require physical pages, right? It require actual physical pages only, right? If the heap or stack grows, when they are growing, then only it will allow them to load the pages into it, right? So this virtual address space that is having the holes, right? This you can call it as sparse address space. It will be called as sparse address space, right? And using a sparse address space, it is beneficial because the holes can be filled as the stack or heap segments grow, or if we wish to dynamically link libraries or possibly other shared objects during the program execution, right? So if you can see the diagrams, you can understand it better. But I'm so sorry I couldn't make it in today's class. Because it is still it is having the same problem, ma. If you can see me, I can, right? And you can also use this virtual memory for storing the shared libraries, right? For storing the shared libraries, that means um, some DLL files, whatever are there, right? They can be mapped into your virtual address space, and that can be used by any number of processes, right? You are getting me, guys? Two or more processes can able to get access to the shared memory. So that is about the shared library using the virtual memory. That means system libraries can be shared by several processes through mapping of the shared object into a virtual address space. You can do it. Now, the next concept is demand paging. So in the demand paging, what we are doing is, what do you mean by this demand paging is, with the demand paging or demand paged virtual memory, pages are loaded only when they are demanded during the program execution, right? So pages that are never accessed are never loaded into the physical memory. You're getting me, guys? Right? With this, what do you mean by this demand paging is? So it is similar to a paging system with the swapping, right? Um, but here in the demand paging, your processes will reside in the secondary memory only in the disk. మనకి పేజింగ్ లో అయితే ఎక్కడ ఉంటుంది విల్ బి క్రియేటింగ్ ఏ బ్యాకప్ రైట్ restore back will be having some backup from that backup swap in swap out can be done but here in the demand paging your processes reside in the secondary memory only but whenever they are called they will be loaded into the main memory, right? So here the demand paging, it uses the concept of lazy swapper or lazy pager. That means a lazy swapper or pager never swaps a page into the memory unless the page will be needed. CPU, until CPU calls for that page, that will never be loaded into the main memory, right? And here we'll be using a bit called valid bit, or it is valid or invalid. It is used to distinguish that the pages that are in the memory and the pages that are on the disk. So the main memory only under that is valid. Directly it will be taken. If it is not there in the memory, it is treated as invalid and that will be brought into the main memory when it was called. Right? And validation also can be done with this valid invalid ma. When the bit is set to valid means the associated page is both legal and it is in the main memory. If it is set to invalid, right, means the page is either not valid, main memory lo undi but not valid, or else it is valid but currently not there in the main memory. It is currently in the disk, right? So this is how your valid and invalid bits will be treated, right? And then when it is coming to the page table entry for this demand paging, right? Uh, uh, the same way you are going to do it valid or invalid. Whatever the pages you are brought into the main memory, you store the according frame numbers, and keep the bit as valid. Uh, right, you are getting me, guys? And if that particular page is not there in the main memory, keep it as invalid, right? And whenever you are loading it into the main memory, the invalid bit will be changed. It will be changed to valid, right? You will be changing bit before you load it into the main memory, right? Now, coming to the page fault, here we have a term called page fault. So, access to a page marked invalid causes a page fault. So, whenever the CPU is asking for a page, right, when the CPU is asking for, means when the CPU is generating some address, asking for a page number, and consider here that page number is not available in the page table, right? That means it is invalid. So that is called a page fault, right? You're getting me, guys, right? Then what it will do is, right? Um, First, it will verify that why that page fault occurred, right? So the paging hardware in translation the addresses through the page table will notice that whether actually it is a invalid address it is generating, or else it was generated as page fault because that asked page is not available in the main memory. So if that is not available in the memory, then by making use of the page replacement algorithms, as I told you, they will be uh, loaded into the page table, right? You are getting me, guys? So if actually it is referring to a invalid location, the process will be terminated, right? The if not, if it is valid but we have not brought that page, then we now page it in. Then what we do is we have to get that page to the main memory. So for that, what we have to do is we have to find a free frame, right? If free frame and if it is full, take out one of the frame and load. If you have some empty frame, means you can load your page into that frame, right? Now for this, we find a free frame, then load that called page into the frame. Then what we do is we schedule a disk operation to read the desired page into the newly allocated frame. So we have to make it know that data has to be put in the um, empty frame, right? You're getting me, guys? Now that page is available in the main memory. So you have to change the page table data. So for that particular page number in which frame you allocated, that details you will share and change its bit to valid. Before it was invalid, no, now you put it into valid, right? Now CPU will start the instruction that was interrupted by the trap. Now the process can access the page in the main memory. This is called page fault, right? You understand now when page fault occurs, when the CPU is asking for a page, right? A page fault occurs. So here what happens is now actually it will be verified whether the CPU is asking the legal address and that is not available on the disk, or it is asking for the illegal address. If it is asking for illegal address, your program will be terminated. But if it is asking for the legal address and that is not available in the main memory, then what happens is from the disk, that particular page will be loaded into the main memory and the page table will be updated. Then your CPU will start executing your process, right? So this is called page fault. Now coming to the other topic called pure demand paging. So what do you mean by this pure demand paging is, right? Initially, your system will start executing a process with no pages in the memory. So initially, it is not loaded any pages, right? But when the operating system sets the instruction pointer to the first instruction of the process, right? You're getting me, guys? The process is not there in the main memory, then the OS will generate a page fault. Now, after that, that page is brought into the main memory. Now the process continues to execute and faulting as necessary until every page that is needed in the main memory. Right? Now, at that point, it can execute with no more page faults. That scheme is called pure demand paging. That is, pure demand paging never brings a page into the memory until it is required. Right? So pure demand paging అంటే ఏంటంటే initially with zero pages loaded, the program will start execution. When the program started execution, CPU will look for that page that is not available in the main memory. It will generate a page fault. With that page fault, that page will be loaded. And when that page is getting executed, if it is asking for another page, if it is asking for another page, again that is also not available. Again, one more page fault will be generated, and that page will be loaded, right? And until your main memory fills, until all the frames is filled, right? It will be generating the page faults and the pages will be loaded into the main memory. అంటే ఏంటంటే until unless the page is required, you will not be um, loading your pages into the main memory, right? And after you load all the pages, then your program will be executed. Your program will be executed with no more faults. ఒకసారి అన్ని పేజెస్ అన్ని వచ్చేసాయి అనుకోండి, with no more faults your process will be completing, right? So this is about the pure demand paging. This is about the pure demand paging, right? So how the hardware support can be given for the demand paging is just like how you use for paging and how you use for swapping. So it will be using the same thing, ma. ఇక్కడ swapping can be done between your secondary memory and the main memory, ma. Right? You're getting me, guys? So this is how your pure demand pages works, right? So there is a question called sequence of steps followed by a page fault. So once the page fault occurs, what happens? In the notes, it was given there are 12 points. Ma. There is a chance that you may get this question. You may get this question for the short answer questions. So what are the steps which will follow the page fault? So page fault occur either, what can be done? Right? Page fault occur అయితే ఏమవుతుంది ఫస్ట్ ట్రాప్, then registers data will be saved, then determine that the interrupt was a page fault or not, then check the page reference is legal or not. If it is illegal, trap, actual trap. If it is legal, get it from the disk, right? When you are getting it from the disk, issue a read from the disk to a free frame, right? Then while waiting, allocate the CPU to some other process and receive the interrupt from the disk IO, save the registers, then determine that interrupt was from the disk and correct the page table and the other table to show that the desired page is now in the main memory. Wait for the CPU to be allocated for the process again. Then restore the user registers, process state, and the new page, and then resume the interrupted instructions. Right? So this is all about your demand paging, pure pure demand paging, right? And your virtual memory management, right? So this is all for today, guys. And then in the next class, we will be discussing about the page replacement algorithms, right? We'll be discussing about the page replacement algorithm. So with that, we can complete your unit 4.